Said and done with Eilat Meidan. Welcome everyone to my self-development podcast, and today I'm happy to host in the studio Mai Penkar.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here. Thank you for having me. You have such a beautiful place and it's very inspiring to be here. So thank you for that.
Yes, thank you too for coming. And today you're going to share with us your spiritual method, which is very interesting. So first I'm going to say that you're like a spiritual counselor for over 30 years.
That's correct.
And you're also founded and teaching your method, Ma'agalei Toda'a A.
That's right.
That you still haven't translated to English.
And I won't translate it because Hebrew is such an old language, and every word in Hebrew, has double meanings and maybe 3 different meanings inside it. And so trying to translate Ma'agalei Toda'a into English, I found it very difficult to do because there's not just one word that can have all the meanings in it like it does in Hebrew. So I'll try to explain what it means, but we'll stay with Ma'agalei Toda'a A, which is not a very hard thing to say in English. It doesn't have any chet or ayin or anything like that. So people can actually won't have to break their teeth saying it. It means circles, but a circle not as a
geometrical shape.
No, not at all as a geometrical shape. It's like throwing a pebble into a water and expanding see how the water expands and the circle's expanding, and this is what Ma'agalei Toda'a means. And Toda'a, it has a lot of meanings. It means higher awareness, or it means a higher consciousness, but it also means knowledge, as the word Toda'a holds within itself knowledge. So it's complex of things, and each one of them is very important, and that together creates Ma'agalei Toda'a. And the meaning behind it is that there is no one person that has all the knowledge or have all the answers, and the more people that are developing into the system, they bring their own knowledge and they bring their own understanding and high consciousness, and all of us are creating better and better understanding of what we do here, because that's the basic answer. What are we doing here?
Yes, the fundamental question.
The fundamental question, that is correct. And so for me, why have I chosen to do this interview in English is a couple of things. One, because I want other people that can actually understand what we say in English. Mm-hmm. Hebrew, like I said, it's amazing language, but quite a few of us understand it. So.
Mostly Israelis around the world.
Even, it's a question mark about that as well. But yeah, so we want to expand the knowledge for other people to share with us and, to get excited by it. And maybe that will help them change their life for the better. And this is what we're looking for. So that's one reason why we're doing it in English. And the second reason is I'm writing a book about my experiences in life and how I came to found Ma'agalei Toda'a. And I'm just writing at the moment about getting out of your comfort zone, which is something that seems to be harder for us as we grow older, Children do it all the time. They try new things all the time. They get out of their comfort zone each and every day. But as we become older, as adults, we find it very, very difficult to do.
And why is it?
Why is it? Because we're getting older.
Why is it coming with getting older? Is this like something in the brain that it doesn't rewire and refire?
I think
just as we were kids?
That is a very good question, because a lot of the things that we base Ma'agalei Toda'a on is looking at children and the way they react to the universe. They walk throughout life, excited about them. They get excited about every single new thing that they learn or see or do. And for us, it seems like we sort of lost it on the way. Why? I think there's a lot of it to do with education and the way we're educated as children. But I don't want to get into that because it's a whole new chapter. Yeah. We can talk about it forever. But we're doing them wrong because we're teaching ourselves to get disconnected to what we feel. Look at children. If they're angry, they're angry.
Yes, definitely.
But they're angry and that's it. They're finished. And keep on going with their lives.
I keep learning from my small child still this, unique character that is like so expressive.
And I think all of us used to be expressive.
And it's like total feeling.
Exactly.
And then it's gone, like you say.
Yeah. So this is very basic in Ma'agalei Toda'a. We are trying to reconnect people to those feelings. And it's very hard for people to want to reconnect to feelings that are not comfortable.
Or very suppressed.
Or very suppressing is a different thing, but you're right. Because it's already been suppressed. And why are you suppressing it? You're suppressing it because the people around you don't want to see you angry. They don't want to see you cry. They don't want to see you upset. And they tell you, don't cry. Why are you screaming? Why are you angry? Count till 10. I don't know. The numerous times I had to count till 10 when I was a child. Let me tell you, never ending. I think I counted till a zillion. But it never helped me. And throughout life, as I was trying to find out the reason why I was so angry and why things have, I would have exploded from rage, and what have brought me into that. Why am I so upset about things? And trying to conquer it. I thought, this is my mission in life.
So like something is wrong with me.
Something is absolutely wrong with me. Because
why am I so angry?
And why cannot I suppress this feeling?
Like everybody else.
Like
everybody's exempling how they're suppressing their anger. And the ones that are not, we think that they're crazy, they're mad.
That is absolutely to the point. So I went, out of my way to find ways to suppress this anger that was inside me. And you know how I overcome it? By realizing this feeling is absolutely essential to me. Why am I trying to suppress it? It makes no sense whatsoever. Because for me, as I grew older and I sort of accepted that I had this anger inside of me and I didn't need to suppress it anymore, but instead I let it be and I looked at it and let it go through me like children do. Very quickly, the anger would pass and I would feel happy again or contained or you will be able to do the next step or whatever I needed to do without feeling guilty. And guilt is a feeling that we, as adults, we carry around all the time with us. It's ridiculous.
It's a heavy burden.
It's ridiculous. It has no meaning. It's absolutely stopping us from developing. So for me, that was a very big sign of my next step, of what I needed to do. And that to make people understand that no matter how they feel, no matter that this is okay.
So you're talking about full expression of emotions, and you're talking about full acceptance, like radical acceptance of emotions.
Exactly. And when you are allowing yourself to be angry or raged over things, you're also allowing yourself to be in touch with love to the extent that is much higher, because it is not suppressed. Once you start suppressing one feeling, you suppress all the others. They won't be able to shine as colorful as they should. And I'm a very practical person, and I believe that everything physical that is meeting us here, emotions, feelings, pain, hunger, sweat, things that maybe we don't really want to talk about, okay? We want to talk about happy things, but those things are here for a reason. And this playground of being a human and feeling and living this physical life is tremendous when you just let it happen and you're not trying to suppress anything. And like you said before, my child is so expressive, and when he's angry, and when he's happy, he's happy. And this is the feelings that we're trying to get in touch with again as adults. And this is more difficult than you imagine yourself.
I must tell you what I have in mind now is that a lot of women are much more expressing their emotions, the pain, the anger, and a lot of men are much more restricted and, a bit shy to show all these feelings. So they judge women. And we live in a very masculine society. So basically we all, women and children, try to fit in to a masculine society that is like, decreasing the level of expression of emotions, you know? And
Yes.
it's like what you're saying is like a bit of let the child and the women rule the world.
Women definitely. 100%. But
We
as
are
we
being
don't.
judged for being too emotional,
Yeah,
you
and
know?
you know what happened if your society or the people around you, even your mother, okay, is telling you you're wrong to feel this way, or what is going on with you? Why are you crying? Why are you being melodramatic? What's wrong with you? And growing up, this amount of times you hear it is incredible. What it does inside of you. It makes you very judgmental about yourself and about who you are. And so many people are living their path and living completely different life than they should. They're not fulfilling anything that they should be doing here. And they become very miserable and upset.
So this is part of depression and anxiety, not allowing ourselves to feel everything.
That is true. That is true. Because we're here in order... Why are we here in a physical world, you know? When you're a spirit, you don't go through all these emotions. You don't go through all the bad feeling or good feeling. You don't have that range of emotions. And we're here, so we need to be and understand and accept all the things about ourselves, which we don't. We're so critical about ourselves and so judgmental about the way that we do things, the way we look, the way we eat, what we, clothes we're wearing. Everything is, we have constant conversation inside ourselves that is not letting us develop. And this is absolutely sad. This is not letting humanity go forward at all. It's keeping us in a loop, and we don't seem to manage to break that loop.
So in your method, you're teaching people, first of all, to allow themselves to feel, right?
Yes.
And to express what they feel, not only to keep it to themselves and feel it and just watch it as vipassana. Yes, you're talking about expressing it.
Yeah, it's not a movie. That's right.
And getting in touch with this inner judge, this inner critic that is like constantly judging us and shutting our mouth.
So basically what we're trying to show people is to look at themselves and to look at the world in a very compassionate way. And I don't think that compassion is being, written enough of the possibilities and what energy it holds within itself. It is so important for us because it's allowing us to not be judgmental to other people and the way they react, but also to be very practical. This is not, I'm feeling sorry about someone, or, oh my God, is the poor child, or looking at it, in a
superiority.
Yeah. That is exactly the word. No, it's leveling up and letting yourself look at yourself in compassion and looking at others in compassion. It's allowing you to move forward in a very clean and
that we all are broken. We all have problems.
Listen.
Yes, we all have to go through some process of growth. Otherwise, we're miserable.
Miserable, for sure. And you know how you can recognize a diamond that to any other things or any other stone. You look at a diamond and it always have tiny little bit of fractures inside it. And that is when you know a diamond is real. Mm-hmm. So why do we try to be plastic? Why do we try to be, glass when we can be a diamond? All these little things that are making us different from each other, that's what makes the world interesting.
Yes, for sure.
How boring it is just to talk to yourself all the time. So from that point of view, we are moving forward. So why have I chosen to do this podcast with you? And why have I chosen to do it in English? There's another reason. So, like I said before, I'm writing this book and I'm at the chapter now when I'm telling people, I'm getting back to it, move out of your comfort zone, right? And so while I'm writing it, certain things that made me move out of my comfort zone has presented themselves. And I'm trying to be as aware of the whisper of the universe. When they tell me in a whisper to do something, this is where I'm trying to listen, because once I do it from when it's very subtle and very quiet, and I move forward from that, my life has become so much easier. And this is what I want to show people. I want to show them that there is a way to move throughout life in a much easier, cleaner, and more relaxed way. If you wait for the universe to punch you in the face and only then you learn, you have a problem. You'll always be in a difficult position. And when you allow yourself to do it, when you're in your comfort zone, and you hear a calling that is very subtle, and you move toward that calling, you're moving out of your comfort zone, but you're doing it to a space that is a little bit scary. It's a little bit uneasy, but it's not scary to the extent that you cannot act or react, and that would put you into a fight or flight mode. This is a place that is curiosity.
And it brings us back to this child that is, constantly learning.
Yes.
You want to teach us a new way of looking at our lives.
Yes.
So we need to open our minds to learn something new, because we're used to do things, when things are hard, we move forward.
That's right.
Or we sink. Yeah. There's always this choice as well. But if you want to develop, you want to teach people how to do it just from day-to-day life, not from crises. This is what you mean. Yeah.
That is basically it. Because as a community of human beings, we have chosen karmatically as a group, and it's a huge group, to move and learn only when crisis hit us. This is when we are moving out of our comfort zone. And for me, this is not the right way to go about life. If you listen to the whisper of the world, like I said, so many things will come out of your way, and you can move when you're comfortable. It's much easier. You develop when you're comfortable. Yes, this is when you need to develop. You don't have to wait for hardships to, bang at your door. Please don't. So this is something we talk a lot about, and we help people do that little steps before.
So you first need to learn that you actually have this inner voice.
Yes.
That is guiding you through life.
Correct.
To get in touch with this inner voice, because otherwise you don't hear anything.
That's right.
You only hear other people's opinions.
That's correct. And how can you do it?
So how do you teach that if people don't hear this voice since they were little kids?
You know when we don't hear that voice is when we're blocking ourselves from emotions. When every time something comes up that is a little bit, tiny little, not comfortable for us, we're immediately shutting it down. And this is when you're shutting and not listening to the voices that you should be listening. And this is not just to yourself. How many times you ask for guidance and you open up a book and there it is. The answer is there. Just open the book. Oh, sometimes I ask myself a question and I go outside and I see, an incredible bird just flying by that I've not noticed before, or even a feather on the floor, and I know, yes, this is my answer. I don't need it to be said to me up front. This is when I talk about this, the whisper of universe, this is where it whispers to you, listen. And when you become aware of yourself and you're letting all your emotions be your emotions, happy or sad, doesn't matter. Then you're allowing yourself to hear the little sounds and you're not blocking them, and it allows you to understand where to move. How in my life, the last, I've been doing this forever, really, since I'm a child. So how would I know where is my next step? Where am I going? What am I doing? So for me, if, like in my clinic, if I have a woman coming, for example, I'm just setting a real example that happened to me. A lady has come to me and she found it very hard to become pregnant, no matter what she tried. So we started working energetically and emotionally about trying to find a way for her to conceive. And I'm happy to say that she has a child. But this was fine that one time. This is not enough for me to sort of think, okay, I need to learn something about this. But when the second one came along, I said, fine. So this is the next thing I need to learn and experiment and get knowledge about. So that's how I moved throughout life, and I've done that, since I opened my clinic. So this is how I learn all the time. It's very exciting because the more you learn, the more able you are to help different varieties of people and different varieties of problems. So don't, just learn one thing. I said, learn all the time, move forward all the time. And one thing that I teach people, and this is something I learned when I was barely 11. So I lived on a kibbutz, and on our 12 year, which starts when we're 11 and finish when we're 12, there used to be this custom that the young children adopt older people. So I got this lady, and she was living by herself, and she was quite a sad elderly woman. And one afternoon we were sitting on a bench, and she was celebrating her 80th odd birthday. And she looked at me and she said, "You're very young, so you probably won't understand this. But as I look back at my life, I realized that I wasted them completely."
Wow.
And I was very young, and I'm so thankful for that lady, because on that second, on that bench, I made up my mind that I will never look back at my life and will feel that I wasted them. And I have, this has been a flag to me throughout all my life. So one thing I teach people is stop every now and again. And I do it at least twice a year and maybe more. And I just stop and I look at this, the past couple of months or 3 months or half a year, and I examine myself. Am I in a place where I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, you make your life easier, because if you don't, before it becomes a problem, you move forward. So this has been for me like a eureka, right? And I teach that to people. Don't go about your life and let them just roll and
because then you're on your automatic mode.
Exactly.
And you're living in the comfort zone completely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. So it's very easy for us. It's very automatic and it's very safe. But if you force yourself to stop and look at your life and ask yourself, am I in the right place where I want to be? And if not, do I want to do something different? This is when you're allowing yourself to live complete.
But most of the people, they will come to therapy or they will come to counseling when they have a crisis.
That's right.
When they're feeling bad, when
That's
they're feeling
right.
sorry about things that happen to them. They don't know how to change.
That's right.
Or they see that same patterns are happening again and again in their lives. So they come to you in a very difficult position, emotional position.
That's correct.
And then you want to teach them, which is very hard to learn. We're in a bad place. Because when we're in a good place, we're playful, we're easy, we're not heavy, we can learn. So how do you want to teach them to go into a lighter place and an easier place when they are in a hard place? It's a very hard job for you.
First of all, people, like I said before, karmatically, we have asked as human beings. I don't know why we've asked it, because this is a very silly, request, but this is how we live. And we're trying to change that karma. We're trying to create a place where we can learn not from hardships. And in order to do so, obviously, people that don't naturally learn to do that throughout life or throughout experience, that like I'm trying to do, obviously it doesn't mean that life is always easy, right? Obviously it doesn't. It's not, but it makes your route much easier because you are more in tune to where you want to go and where you want to be. And you're not letting yourself drown with self distractions or hardships.
So I think maybe what you say is that unlike a therapist who's a psychologist, for instance, you don't talk to them about their problems and you're like sinking with them to their problems in order to solve them. You want to reflect to them the pattern of behavior that leads them to coming to therapy when they are having like hardships in lives, and teach them how to be more easy with themselves and have like peaceful life without going to therapy. It's like something that they need to learn to do with themselves.
That, first of all, I'm a great believer in people on ability to heal themselves and move forward, but they need, tools to do that. And sometimes people don't have it. And what I do with people that comes to me in a time of crisis is exactly what I'm doing with, spiritual counseling. I'm I'm looking for the path that is best for them to go throughout life. And I help them to clean all the mumble jumble of whatever they bring with them.
The drama.
The drama. It's not even drama. It's a lot of times, it's like you said, they reflect things that other people told them and have nothing to do with them whatsoever, or with their life, or with the way they should be going. So I'm trying to clean that way and use my light torch to show them the right path for them to move forward. And I do it not by thinking my own thoughts and whatever I think about things or about them or whatever they bring, or from a judgmental way. I put all that aside and I let the spiritual guide tell them through me, because I'm a channel, through me, what is the best way for them to accomplish what they have decided to do when they came here. Mm-hmm. Because so many times the hardships happen when you move out of your path. And when you go back to your path, things are falling right into place, and it's amazing. It's incredible to see.
So you think that before we come to this body, our soul or spirit has chosen the path for itself, and we have to discover it?
Absolutely. And we chose whatever lessons we bring with us today, or whatever lessons we want to accomplish throughout life. And basically there is the end goal that we have to achieve, okay? And each one of us have a different level.
You mean before we die, before we leave this body?
Before we leave this body.
Yeah.
But for our spiritual guide, and this is amazing because this is something that I've noticed throughout the years, this life in this body is so short. It's nothing. Yeah. It's nothing. It's a flick of a second and it's gone. So this is why I'm saying live your life throughout, just live them properly and experiment and experience and be happy about, being here, because it's incredible here. It's amazing. And I want people to get excited about the path they have chosen. And when you're excited about your life, so many things open up for you, and that.
So it's also regarding to finding what you're passionate about.
Definitely.
Because you need to be passionate about what you're doing, right?
Yes, obviously. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, there's no way you'll move forward, because you'll become very frustrated and very bored. And boredom for me is enemy number one.
Yeah, or feeling this emptiness, that is a reflection of I'm not in the right place for me.
That's correct. So many people come to me, coming out of a crisis. Like I said, this is something we have chosen to do. I don't know why. Again, I'm saying it, but this is what we have chosen to do. So they come to me, and my goal is to show them a different path throughout that difficulty, but to teach them that next time they can create a different method of moving, and they don't have to wait for that punch of the universe. They in tune with yourself again and listen to the voices and walk your path. It will be much simpler and much easier, and you wouldn't believe how many people will find it so difficult, because it is simple and it's very doable. And not only that, you know me a little bit. I'm a very practical person. I teach and I communicate with high spirits and get all this knowledge that it's incredible. It's amazing. And every time I'm with awe of what I get, and it's incredible. But we live here in our body, and we cannot forget that. So we have to treat ourselves properly, and we have to treat ourselves with compassion. I make sure that I eat the right food, sleep enough, breathe enough. I found it hard to breathe. For me, breathing is an issue. So I taught myself to stop during the day and take deep breath, and just do it every single day. Otherwise, life can be overwhelming at times. And when you stop and you consciously breathe and you reflect at your life and what you're doing, that is already putting you on the right path of where you need to go. So this is very basic. It's nothing that is complex.
But sometimes, sometimes we can see, probably each of us has these things that are repetitive.
Yes.
The repetitive circles of negative emotions, Or, for instance, people can choose the same abusive husband again and again. Or people can go through difficulties with their bodies again and again, getting fat, losing weight. I don't know. I have a lot of examples to give that people are feeling stuck with some issues in their lives. And how do you help them to see what is lying underneath this, stuckness?
So that is a very good question. And it is not one answer. There is not one answer because each and every one of us chooses different lessons in life. And if you choose to learn something, but you refuse to learn it, it will come again and again. And each time it will come, it will be more obvious. Like I said before, if the universe is touching you very lightly and you have not learned your lesson then, it will gradually make your lesson more visible until it will hit you in the face, right? And we don't want to be there. So obviously when people don't have the tools yet of to look at their lives differently, it's very hard for them sometimes to get out of this loop. So for me, like I said, is to show them that there is a different path. So I can show them and I can consult them and I can give them methods and I can teach them different things. But initially it's up to them to make that decision to change their life. And if they choose not to, it's entirely up to them. And I started saying before, one thing that I've noticed, like I said, we live here very, very shortly. And if we don't finish the lessons we have come to do here, which happens sometimes, we can die in an accident. Nobody's promising us to live till we're 120. Nobody's saying that we're going to finish everything we plan to, or everything that we chose when we came here. And a lot of people don't finish the lesson that they have come to learn here. And they will come again here in a different body, in a different lifetime, and they will have to repeat those lessons until they choose to learn them, right? And so people ask me, how can that be? How is it possible? Because I've come here and I've got this amazing mission to do, right? I have this amazing mission to do, but nobody's promising me that I won't die tomorrow. So I have to try my best to learn as much as possible. So next time I come along, life will be easier and more interesting, right? But at this time, if we don't choose to learn it, this is the only thing that will happen, because our soul request is endless, is throughout centuries. It doesn't start and end today or in this life.
When did you start believing in it? That there's different lifetimes, that we have a soul that experiences it. Not everybody believes in it.
No, that's correct. And I had many questions throughout my adolescence about this. And because as a child, I used to hear guides, spiritual guides. And around, my grandfather sadly passed away when I was 12. And I was very much connected to him. He was like everything to me, right? And so a couple of days before he died, or a night before he died, actually, I got this message that he's going to die the next day.
Wow.
So I had this thing, this whatever guide sitting next to me throughout the whole night and talking to me and making me realize that, this is he's going to leave his bodily form and move forward. And it's not a sad thing. But obviously for me as a child, it was terrible. Why are you telling me all this? I don't want to know. And when he died, I decided to block that thing inside me. And I said, please don't tell me anything. I don't want to hear anything. It's confusing for me. And I blocked it. And it took me a few years to go back to it. So I had a lot of question marks about, what's going on and how life is about, and from very, very young age. And the time where I, this truth that I not just believe in, this is the way I perceive life and live according to it, is I arrived to Egypt when I was just before I went to the army, and I was barely 18. So I traveled to Egypt with a friend, and we reached the pyramids in Giza in Egypt. It's not far from Cairo. And I looked at the pyramids. It was grand and amazing. And there's the Sphinx next to it. And I have this thought coming to my head. And it goes, I don't recognize it like this. And it was very strange, feeling I had. And like, where did this thought came from? Because obviously I'd never been there before. And the only pictures I've seen of the Sphinx were the full daylight. So I just said, oh, rubbish. I put it on the side and I continued, walking throughout the place. And we stayed there until the evening came, because the guy that took us there, he said, it's amazing here at night because they light the pyramids and the Sphinx and everything looks incredible. So we decided we're just going to hang out. And when the night came and we walked through, and the Sphinx was lit in such a way, it was amazing. And the thought came to my head, and it says, this is the way I remember it. And I was like looking at myself, and I'm like, what's going on? Something is going on here that is not normal, right? Where is this thought came from? And throughout my life, I have met so many people that I looked into their eyes and I recognized them, and I knew. It's like an immediate understanding of knowledge that I've known them from a different life. And you know it because
you have remembrance.
Yes, it's something without you that this is like, it's not a rational thought that comes to your head, obviously. It's something that you think about. You don't think about it. It just pops into your head, right? And for me, when I started meeting those people, I had this question mark in my head until, is that right? Is that true? What's going on? Do I believe in reincarnation? I don't believe in reincarnation. And it's a very good, thing to ask yourself. But for me, it allows me to understand how short life is when we live here. It's very temporary, but it's also very comforting. Why? Because if I have not finished learning all the lessons that I need to learn, I'm coming again. And maybe I won't remember exactly, or maybe my path will be different. Maybe I choose different things to do or different lessons to learn. But my soul will keep on expanding. And this is the most important thing for me, I think. Expand, your thinking and understanding of what we do here and why we do it. What's the reason why? And, it's always come back to the thinking or the perception of what is God. Does God exist? And for me, I have no questions about his existence. I don't believe.
Not in a religious way, I guess.
No,
probably
not in a
more
religious
existential way.
Yeah,
religion like this presence.
Religion for me is a very confusing and thing, and I don't want to offend anybody. But this is not my path. But like I said, I don't believe in God. I know He exists. And by knowing that, and the way I perceive God is maybe different than, religion, because I believe God is compassion, God is love, God is creation, all these wonderful things that this universe is allowing us to experience. But I want to not talk about God at this moment, because we'll find another time to do that. And I just want to leave you and everyone else that's watching with this thought and thinking is, first of all, live your life to the full and be excited about things and find something that will drive you and make you, find a way to do new things and experiment.
Like we were talking about being passionate.
Passionate is so important. And try and put being skeptical and exchange that with curiosity. It is so important. And that's it for me for the moment. And I'm sure we'll meet again.
And don't reach a stage where life hits you in the face. Listen to the inner voice before. It was one of the important things you said.
Yes, that's correct.
You learn to do that, to listen to this.
I think when you put being
whisper,
skeptical.
you said.
Yeah, whisper of the universe. When you put being skeptical a little bit, on the shelf, and you allow yourself to open up and be curious about things, that's all there is to it. You open up to the universe and be in touch with yourself and all the feelings you try to suppress. There's no place for that.
So thank you for everything today. It was inspiring. Mai Penkar, thank you for coming.
Thank you. It was lovely. Thank you very much.
And thank you all for watching or listening. Hope you'll get some good things from it.
Thank you.
Said and done with Eilat Meidan.